Welcome back. In late November, the website Forbes, it reported that the U.S. State Department had issued new guidance towards its embassies, its consulates, and its diplomats who were involved in compiling its annual report on global human rights abuses. Now, according to this article from Forbes, the State Department is now, number one, they're identifying countries with state-sponsored abortion policies, but they're also labeling them as being guilty of committing human rights violations. Okay, at the news site Reuters, it was also reported that the instructions the State Department employees received required them to include in their report any infringement of human rights in foreign countries. And to meet that requirement, they had to include information on the subsidization of abortions, as well as the total estimated number of annual abortions. And of course, pro-life sites celebrated this announcement. I saw Live Action News. They made a Facebook post with the caption, "Finally," as if something had actually accomplished, right? But this move by the State Department, it really accomplished absolutely nothing, okay? It did nothing to save babies in the womb here at home or even around the world. Besides, it seems a little hypocritical for a nation that allows abortions at home to be calling out other countries, right? It's hypocritical for a nation that kicked the can down the road and shifted the blame to the states. Abortion was wrong under Roe v. Wade when the Supreme Court and the federal government as a whole erroneously claimed that women had a right to kill their unborn children. And they did so under the guise of this right to privacy. Okay? But you know what? It was also wrong with the Dobbs decision. When that came down, it was wrong to give the choice back to the states, for voters to decide whether killing babies in the womb was okay. Because it's not okay. We know it's not. It is murder. And nobody has the right to vote on its legality. Okay? And both the 5th and the 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution, you know, the supposed supreme law of the land, they're both very clear on this issue. Both the 5th and 14th Amendments say that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And yet, despite these supposed protections, thousands of babies, thousands of persons, thousands of human beings are killed every single day in the U.S., and it's all done legally, without fear of prosecution. Daily, innocent human beings are starved to death in their womb by their mothers via the abortion pill. They're injected with poison as if they're no better than some violent criminal who's on death row. Around this country, innocent babies are slaughtered by abortion doctors, by having their skulls crushed, by having their limbs ripped off. It's disgusting, it's barbaric, and it should not be happening in a civilized society. Okay? But back to the point. It's pretty hypocritical to call other nations human rights abusers, right? When we allow the same thing in our own nation. It's pretty hypocritical to act as if state-sponsored abortions are worse than ones that are funded by individuals themselves. After all, the end result is the exact same. A human being is being slaughtered. If the State Department and the federal government in general, if they truly thought abortion was a human rights violation, if they viewed it as murder, which it actually is, then they would do something about it here at home. If they really believed it was a human life in the womb, as science confirms, then they'd be pushing for a national personhood bill. One that recognizes that all human beings, even those in the womb, are persons, with all the protections that come along with it. If they truly valued all human life, then they would demand that we strictly enforce the 5th and the 14th Amendments. But they won't do that. And this whole situation is kind of like what we see in the Bible in Matthew chapter 7, verse 4. When Jesus was speaking, he said, "How wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote or the tiny speck out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye." In verse 5, the Bible goes on to say, "Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye." Okay, and that's the U.S. right now. We're calling out other nations for their sin of abortion, for their human rights violations, while we sit at home where it's perfectly legal for innocent human beings to be slaughtered in the womb. There's not a state out there where a woman can't get some abortion pills and then stand on the front steps of the police station and take those pills and kill her child. It's perfectly legal for mothers in every state to kill with immunity. Nothing happens to them. And why is that? Well, it's because of pro-life legislators, pro-life lobbyists, and activists who refuse to call abortion what it really is. They want to pretend that they believe it's murder. but then they refuse to hold murderers like the mothers who take the abortion pills, or like the mothers who are paying the abortion doctors to rip apart their child. They refuse to hold those mothers accountable. They refuse to treat them like actual murderers. Okay, so here's a tip for the pro-life crowd. Okay, stop calling abortion murder if you don't really believe that's what it is. Stop calling it murder if you're not going to treat the perpetrators like you would treat any other murderer out there. If you're going to give the mothers special immunity for killing their children, then don't call it murder. It's disingenuous. Okay? And if that's you, if that's what you've been pushing, then either A, you're sick and twisted. B, you don't really believe it's murder. C, you don't really believe it's a person in the womb. Or D, maybe you're just a hypocrite. For many out there, it's probably a combination of all the above, right? Now, for some pro-lifers, though, maybe you just haven't fully considered the situation. Maybe you haven't thought through all this and to see what's really going on behind the scenes. If that's you, then that's who I want to talk to right now, okay? Now is a good time to reevaluate what you believe. This is the time to consider whether the pro-life movement is the right place to be, or if you should look into the abolitionist movement. Okay, as abolitionists and as Christians, we believe in equal protection for all human beings, both born and unborn. We believe in acting justly, as the Bible commands, and being fair and equitable with all people, born and unborn. As abolitionists, we argue for equal justice for all murderers, abortion doctors, and mothers alike. We don't believe in showing partiality under the law. We don't believe in respecting persons and judgment. The Bible speaks against that. Justice should be blind, okay? That's what we should advocate for. As abolitionists, we don't make exceptions for why some babies can be murdered. Okay? It doesn't matter if they were conceived in a loving relationship or if it was through a violent act of rape. Every life matters, and each one has the right to life. The abolitionist position is consistent, it's biblical, and it's scientific. Okay? It's the only one that supports all life in the womb all the time. Okay, so if you're interested in learning more, then hit up Abolitionist Rising, as well as the Foundation to Abolish Abortion. I have links to both of those pages in my profile description, okay, so you can find them there. It doesn't matter how long you've considered yourself pro-life, or maybe you're even pro-choice, but today you can make a change, okay? Today you can get off that old path and start on a new one. And I sincerely hope you do, okay? I hope you look into the abolitionist movement, see what we're all about. I think it might open your eyes and you might change your mind about a lot of things. All right, well, that is our video for the day. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you all have a great rest of your day.